She was riding my mower like she was leading the biggest 4th of July parade in town. No joke. There she was, cruising along, sipping a frappuccino like she was royalty, her little dog rocking a pair of sunglasses in the passenger basket like it was born for this moment. And under her, my John Deere, gliding smooth as butter, like it belonged to the Queen of Suburbia herself. It took me a solid 5 seconds to even process what I was looking at. There I was, barefoot on my driveway, coffee in hand, blinking like I was stuck in a weird ad for suburban chaos. Then she waved. She actually waved at me. Not a sheepish little, oops, got caught wave either. It was the smug, high and mighty kind of wave. The wave of someone who thinks they're bulletproof. Now, Karen had always been the bane of our cul-de-sac. You know the type. Bleach blonde bob cut, pastel outfits that hurt your eyes if you stared too long, and that clipboard of hers? Pretty sure it was surgically attached. She ran the HOA like a dictator nobody voted for. Every week it was something new. My grass was half an inch too tall. My recycling bin was visibly distressed. Once she even fined me because she said my garden gnome looked emotionally hostile. I should have seen this coming, right? But even for Karen, this was bold. Olympic-level bold. I didn't run after her. Nah, that would have spoiled the moment. Because unlike Karen, I had a plan, and a little secret she didn't know about. See that mower? It wasn't just a mower anymore. I had it rigged with GPS tracking, remote locking, and app controls. All thanks to my cousin Dale, who warned me that fancy mowers like mine were prime targets for thieves. At the time, I thought Dale was being his usual paranoid self. But now, watching Karen cruise down Maplewood Lane like she was Grand Marshal of some ridiculous entitlement parade, I was glad I listened. The morning had started normal enough. Brewed my coffee, still in my house slippers, admiring the lawn I'd just trimmed. Then I noticed it, the empty spot where my pride and joy was supposed to be. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and blinked again. Gone. My mower, the one I'd saved up for instead of buying a fancy grill or tricking out a truck like the other guys. It was sleek, fast, and mowing on it felt like driving a Cadillac on a Sunday. And now it was gone. Or so I thought. And then I saw her, Karen, floating down the street on my mower like it was her personal chariot. But instead of panicking, I just smiled, slow and steady, pulled out my phone, opened up the tracking app, and there she was, rolling along at a whole 6 miles an hour. I tapped the remote lock button. Then I waited. It took about 30 seconds before it happened. She coasted to a stop right in front of Mr. Henkin's yard. At first, she fiddled with the controls. Then she looked around. Then, and I swear this happened, she slapped the dashboard like that was going to do something. Mr. Henkin, for his part, was out watering his roses, completely ignoring the drama. Classic Henkin. I leaned on the doorframe, took a sip of my coffee. Showtime. Her face twisted from mild confusion to full-on rage in record time. She hurled her frappuccino onto the pavement. Poor dog jumped, nearly flopping out of the basket. She stomped around that mower like she was about to perform an exorcism. And then, this is the best part, she whipped out her phone and started calling someone. Could have been the HOA board. Could have been her lawyer. Maybe both. Didn't matter. I strolled over, still in slippers, giving her the most casual wave. "Morning, Karen," I said, sugary sweet. "Something wrong with your mower?" She spun around like I'd insulted her mother. "Your mower broke down in the middle of the street. How irresponsible." I blinked, real slow. "My mower? I don't remember lending it out." She laughed. One of those shrill, nails-on-chalkboard laughs that makes birds take off from trees. "It was just sitting there. What if a child got on it? I was protecting the neighborhood." "By stealing my mower," I said. She scoffed. "Borrowing. Temporarily." Then she crossed her arms and added, "And clearly it's defective. A safety hazard." That's when Dale pulled up, his truck speakers blasting POD's boom at a volume. You could hear from orbit. He hopped out, gave me a thumbs up. "She tripped the lock already." "Yep," I said. Karen's head snapped between us like a lawn sprinkler on speed. "Tripped the what?" I smiled. "The remote lock, and the tracker, and cameras. You didn't see the sticker?" Karen's face drained to the color of overcooked shrimp. You tracked me?" You stole it, I replied, and trespassed, and rode it like some kind of tacky parade float. Tracking was the least invasive thing I did. Then her dog sneezed, real loud, and for a second we all froze. Karen, true to form, stormed off, screaming into her phone. Something about lawsuits, HOA violations, the moral decay of the neighborhood. Left the mower right there in the street, blocking traffic. Her poor dog jogging after her like an embarrassed toddler, following its mom after a tantrum. Dale clapped me on the shoulder. Told you it'd pay for itself in entertainment. Oh, I said, this is just the start. And it was. Because if I knew anything about Karen, it was that she never took a loss lying down. She was coming back. And this was just the first shot in a full-blown suburban war. The neighborhood didn't know it yet, but they were about to witness the greatest HOA meltdown in the history of HOA meltdowns. And me, I was going to enjoy every second of it. She denied everything, of course. That's always the first move. 20 minutes later, she was back at my door, clipboard in hand like the queen of passive-aggressive bureaucrats. Sunglasses tilted like she was the villain in a low-budget crime show. She actually had the nerve to say, there seems to have been some confusion about the mower. I nearly choked on my coffee. Confusion? Karen spun some wild story about how she found my mower unattended on my lawn and, out of an overwhelming sense of civic duty, decided to move it somewhere safer. That somewhere safer being, apparently, her garage. And by move, she meant hotwire it and live stream the whole thing to her Facebook group. I wish I was joking. She claimed it broke down while she was performing her heroic community service. And that's why it ended up stranded in the street like a busted-up float from a rejected Disney parade. I fought hard not to laugh. Really, I did. I showed her the video footage. Clear as day. Karen hopping on my mower like it was a pony ride at a kid's party. Her squinting at the screen, saying it was clearly edited. I showed her the GPS logs. She muttered something about hackers. The doorbell cam with the timestamp? Deep fake, she claimed. Trying to argue with her was like arguing with a flat earther who also believed the moon landing was filmed in a Walmart parking lot. That evening, she called an emergency HOA meeting. Of course she did. Karen was like a terrier with a chew toy. She wasn't letting go. We met in the rec center, which was really just a tool shed with folding chairs. Karen walked in like a general rallying the troops, flanked by Barb, who once called the police because someone's wind chimes were too aggressive, and Frank, who wrote a 2-page complaint about unauthorized bird feeders. Karen stood at the front and accused me of setting a trap. Literally. Like I was Elmer Fudd and she was Bugs Bunny. She claimed I'd baited her with the mower to make her look bad. Barb nodded so hard I thought her neck was gonna snap. Frank just looked confused and asked if this meant he could mow his own lawn again. I let her ramble. Then I calmly loaded the video onto a flash drive, plugged it into the projector, and hit play. The room went quiet. Karen, in leopard print leggings, strutting across my lawn, her dog in a baby carrier on her chest, climbing onto my mower like she was being crowned. Then the automated voice, "You are now being recorded." Karen, smile for YouTube. The sprinkler attack at the end. Pure comedy. Karen crossed her arms. This doesn't prove anything, she said. I pointed out that she threw her drink at a hydrangea bush. That bush was aggressive, she muttered. The board asked me to step outside while they deliberated. Karen paced the hallway like a defendant waiting on a Supreme Court verdict. 10 minutes later, Eli, the HOA president, who only joined for the free donuts, called us back in. They voted. I was cleared of any wrongdoing. Karen, fully responsible for the incident, Karen exploded, accused them of corruption, tech bias, and conspiracy, demanded an appeal, and then stormed off. Again, her poor dog trotting behind her like he was over it. And that, my friend, was just Tuesday. The next morning, things escalated. I woke up to find my trash bins missing, not tipped over, not dragged down the street, just flat out gone. Like they'd been abducted by aliens who ran out of space fuel and needed makeshift drums for their interstellar rock band. And taped to my garage door was a bright orange notice. Violation of HOA Code 3.2.6. Failure to secure waste containers. The irony wasn't lost on me. I couldn't secure what wasn't there. I didn't need Sherlock Holmes to figure out who was behind it. Karen wasn't just mad. She was marinating in spite and passive aggression, and she was only getting started. Next came the fine for an overgrown lawn. Overgrown. I'd mowed that thing twice in 1 week. It was cut to precision, so exact I'd measured it with a tape just to rub it in Karen's face. But nope, there it was, a formal citation. And then, like a cherry on the sundae of absurdity, another complaint about my garden gnome. This time she accused it of promoting civil unrest, because apparently a gnome holding a tiny peace sign was the symbol of suburban rebellion. I didn't fight back. Not yet. I documented everything, screenshotted emails, photographed the missing bins, copied every petty violation notice she plastered to my door like we were living in medieval times and she was delivering royal decrees. And then Dale showed up again. He'd been out of town but came back with that same mischievous grin he always had right before we were about to do something ridiculous. He brought a new batch of upgrades for the mower. One was a sound system that blasted dramatic orchestral music anytime someone touched the ignition. Another was a custom license plate that read Karma Express. We installed it immediately. I laughed so hard I almost fell off the thing. By the time we were done, my mower was more fortified than some small countries. Anti-theft alarm? Check. LED underlights? Check. Live streaming cameras that connected directly to my phone? Check. Dale suggested smoke bombs, but I told him we'd save that for the next phase. We parked it right at the edge of my lawn, gleaming in the afternoon sun, like a trophy, bait. But this time, the bait had teeth, and as expected, Karen couldn't resist. 2 days later, I caught her peeking over the fence, sunglasses flashing like the eyes of some suburban Terminator. I could see the gears turning in her head as she figured out the mental gymnastics it would take to justify another theft. This was Karen. She could spin anything. In her mind, trespassing was neighborhood maintenance, theft was community service, and fines were personal favors. I let her stew. I let her plot, because the trap was set. 3 days. That's how long it took. One quiet afternoon, while I was inside eating lunch, Karen made her move. I watched from behind the blinds as she crept across my yard, dressed in full camouflage, head to toe, even had face paint on. It was like watching a raccoon attempt a covert op. Her little dog wasn't with her this time, probably on house arrest after the last stunt. She tiptoed up to the mower like it was a wild animal she was trying to wrangle, glanced over her shoulder once, twice, then climbed on, and as soon as she touched the pedal, Dale's masterpiece blared through the speakers. "Step away from the mower, Karen. You are being monitored by the Petty Revenge Division." She let out a scream so sharp I'm pretty sure car alarms 3 streets over went off. She leapt off the mower and landed in a pile of limbs in embarrassment. But the mower wasn't done. This incident is being recorded and will be reviewed for neighborhood entertainment purposes. I hit the live stream button on my phone. Instantly, the Neighborhood Watch app was lit up with viewers. The comments started flying in. "She's at it again. Somebody get the popcorn. Plot twist, the mower is sentient." Karen flailed around on my lawn, yelling at an inanimate object. At one point, she tried to wrestle the handlebars like she was going to outmuscle a piece of heavy machinery. The mower didn't budge, but her sunglasses fell off and landed smack in the middle of a freshly watered flower bed. Eventually, she gave up and stormed off again, muttering threats and insults like a suburban Shakespeare villain. 5 minutes later, I found another HOA notice stuffed in my mailbox, accusing me of staging unlicensed theatrical lawn displays. I framed that one. By the next day, the live stream video had gone viral. Dale added dramatic music and slow-mo clips of her, scrambling off the mower like it was possessed. He posted it to the Suburban Justice subreddit, and from there, the internet did its thing. Karen became an unwilling meme. Mower Bandit Karen, they called her. People photoshopped her onto Grand Theft Auto covers, photoshopped her face onto medieval paintings of failed rulers. Someone remixed her scream into a dance track. It slapped. But this wasn't just about the laughs anymore. The fallout hit fast and hard. Suddenly, people started coming out of the woodwork. Neighbors who'd stayed quiet about her tyranny for years stepped up. One guy told everyone about how she fined him for hanging his Halloween decorations before October. Another said she confiscated his trampoline because excessive bouncing promotes chaos. Turns out Karen had been unchecked for years. No one had ever asked for her paperwork. Nobody even knew if she was officially part of the HOA board. And then Rick, quiet old Rick, who kept to himself mostly, did some digging. He worked in property law and decided to poke around Karen's credentials. What he found? Well, that was the cherry on top. Karen didn't even own her house. She was renting it, and it wasn't even in her name. It was in her ex-husband's. And she wasn't on any official HOA board filings. She had zero legal authority. Nothing. She'd been playing dictator on borrowed time. Word spread like wildfire. An emergency neighborhood meeting was called, and not by Karen this time. It was called by the rest of the board, who, until now, had basically been her background dancers. The meeting turnout was huge. People brought lawn chairs, coolers of lemonade, even snacks like it was movie night. Karen showed up 15 minutes late, sunglasses crooked, trying to put on the air of a queen regaining her throne. Barb and Frank followed behind her like they were walking into their own funerals. Eli, the HOA president, stood and calmly laid out everything Rick had found. The documents, the lack of authority, the fact that Karen didn't legally belong there. The silence was heavy. You could hear someone unwrapping a piece of gum in the back row. Karen tried to argue, her voice cracking, saying she was acting in good faith to protect the neighborhood. Someone from the back yelled, "You don't even live here!" The room erupted. Laughter, clapping. Some people booed. It was a mess. A glorious, well-deserved mess. The board took a vote right there, unanimous. Karen was stripped of whatever pretend authority she thought she had. Banned from future meetings until further notice. She stormed out, sunglasses askew, dragging her poor dog behind her like a sidekick in a badly written sitcom. And for a few days it was peaceful. Really peaceful. No HOA notices duct taped to my door. No glares from Karen's deck. No suspicious noise complaints. Just calm. But I knew better. Karen wasn't gone. She was just regrouping. And sure enough, it didn't take long. 1 week later, Dale calls me. He's driving back from the next town over and swears he just saw my mower. On a trailer, heading down the highway at 45 miles per hour. At first, I thought maybe it was a coincidence. Same model, same color. But then Dale said he saw the decal on the side, the one he'd made as a joke. Mo money, mo problems. No mistake, it was mine. I ran to my shed, lock cut, mower gone. And on the door, taped neatly, was a sticky note. Reclaimed by the people. Property of the true HOA authority. Underneath was a sketch of a crown, and what might have been a doodle of my mower wearing sunglasses. I didn't yell. Didn't even get mad. I just pulled out my phone. GPS was live. She was heading east. I grinned. This time, I didn't lock it remotely. Not yet. I let her think she'd won. Karen's dot stopped moving at a flea market about 15 miles out of town. Dale and I jumped in his truck and headed over with a GoPro and zero shame. And there she was, Karen, set up under a bright blue tent with a for sale sign taped to the mower. 600 OBO. She'd spray painted it neon pink with gold flames. There was a crooked smiley face stenciled on the front. It looked like it had been through a midlife crisis and come out worse for wear. She was trying to sell it as a custom vintage yard vehicle. Told an old couple it was European. Rare. You won't find another like it, she claimed. She wasn't wrong. I waited until there was a decent crowd. Then I hit the remote lock. The mower froze. Dead. Then Dale triggered the speaker. Theft detected. Please return me to my lawful owner or prepare for suburban justice. Karen's face cracked. She hit buttons, kicked the tires. Nothing. Dale hit another button, and the smoke machine, yeah, we did it, poured out dry ice fog like it was about to launch into orbit. Someone screamed. The teenagers started filming. And then, sirens. We hadn't even called the cops. But someone at the flea market did. Thought it was a bomb. 2 squad cars pulled up. Karen scrambled. She tried to claim it was all a joke. Performance art. Pulled out a crumpled receipt on the back of a CVS coupon that she said proved ownership. I walked up calm as ever, Handed the officers my documentation. GPS logs, registration, video of Karen spray painting the thing while wearing a tiara and sipping what looked like boxed wine. Even the cops were trying not to laugh. Turns out this wasn't Karen's first rodeo. She had similar complaints in 2 other states. Misuse of HOA powers. Property seizures. One involved a koi pond. I didn't ask. They cuffed her right there. The crowd cheered. Someone started clapping slow like a bad movie ending, and soon the whole flea market joined in. Back home, the news spread like wildfire. The video of her trying to hawk the neon nightmare went viral again. People photoshopped it onto Fast and Furious posters. Someone made a parody song called Mow in Disorder. The HOA dissolved 2 days later. Nobody wanted to be on a board that let Karen run wild for so long. In its place, we set up a neighborhood council. Informal, friendly, actual volunteers this time. First order of business, official recognition of my garden gnome collection. Second, Dale's Flamingo Army was added to the art walk. Third, neighborhood cameras for safety and comedy. As for the mower, we got it back, cleaned it up, took 3 days and a gallon of paint stripper to get the glitter flames off. We added a decal that said, reclaimed and retired. Life got quieter. The gnomes stayed. People waved more. The neighborhood for the first time felt like home. And then one evening I found a package on my porch. No return address. Small box. Purple ribbon. Inside was a miniature mower, hand-painted pink with gold flames. A tiny tiara glued to the seat, and a note. From your biggest fan, see you soon. I sighed, looked around. Quiet street, sunset glowing. Somewhere a wind chime tinkled. I picked up my phone. Dale, I said. Yeah? We're gonna need another trap. Already working on it, he replied. This time with lasers.